guys, it's Sam here, and today I wanted to make a video about my thoughts slash my opinion slash if I can get the wording proper, my basically who I think Liverpool will sign slash sell this summer. Now, I have made a list. I've done this in my notes, and by the way, all of these valuations are from transfermarkt.co.uk. I don't know if it's reliable or not. Some of them had valuations that at least I knew the actual price tags were a little bit different. So these numbers are most likely, for all of them, probably going to be higher or around about what Transfermarkt are saying. But this was my ultimate list anyway. So let's not waste any time, let's get into it. So I'm going to start with signings. So Milos Kerkez is, according to this website, valued at 35 million. Now I believe that is round about right. I think the reports that I've seen is about 40. So I think 35 could still get that deal done. Especially if you do 35 plus more than maybe 5 million in add-ons, you get that deal done, and then yeah, he becomes a Liverpool player. I think that is ultimate. He is our top target for left back, which I'm very happy about. He's done incredibly well with Bournemouth, and you know, he's still young. I believe he's 21, possibly 22, so still young and still a lot of years ahead of him. So for him to come in and sort of challenge already at the start for that first place left back position with Andy Robertson, and then also learn from the experience of Andy Robertson as well, I think it's a no-brainer to get that in. Ian Huijsen, he's valued at 42 million, but we do know he has a 50 million release clause. So that makes it a lot easier. You know, you don't have to negotiate with the club. You just pay that money, pay the release clause, and all you have to do is get the player to agree to terms. There are mixed reports with this. Some suggesting Chelsea are in pole position, some suggesting that he wants to go to Real Madrid, others are suggesting that he wants to stay in the Premier League, and most importantly, his preferred destination is Liverpool. And then other reports suggesting that Liverpool are in pole position. I don't think anyone knows what's going on at the minute. But to get a centre back like Dean Huijsen in, who is still very, very young, I believe he's 19, so you've got the future of that back line. You've already got the Van Dijk replacement in, if you get him in, and what a moment for the young lad to learn off Van Dijk, and he has every opportunity to be a massive figure in the back line for Liverpool for years to come. The next one is Jeremy Frimpong. Now, he is valued at 50 million, but I believe reports suggested that Leverkusen, or at least I think, it's not Leverkusen, I believe there is a 35 million euro, about £28 million release clause for him. So at that low of a price in today's market, I think it's a very, very good option to have. Plus he brings you versatility. So you can get him originally as a Trent replacement, have him battle it out with Bradley for the right back spot, but most importantly, when Salah goes off to AFCON in January, Frimpong can be played as a winger. So he brings you that versatility, and he will also bring you kind of a little bit of Trent in a way. They're not like for like. No one's like Trent, you know. That's obvious. But they are kind of like for like. They both love going forward. And from what I've seen of Frimpong, he has a very good cross and a very good shot on him. Very reminiscent of Trent. So I do believe that that should be our right back position that we go for. Unless you get Frimpong as... Unless you sell Chiesa, you get Frimpong in as the winger and also sign a right back. That's again the very possibility of doing that deal. But again, I just think for 28 million, it's pretty much a steal. Next one is Julian Alvarez. Now, he's valued at 90 million. I believe that is about right, because the reports were suggesting is that Atletico Madrid want about 80 to 90 for him. However, there is report that suggested that Darwin Núñez, Atletico Madrid would be the only club to get a discounted price on Darwin Núñez if it meant Julian Alvarez was heading to Anfield. So again, we have kind of an ace up our sleeve with that. If they want Darwin, you know, we give them a discounted price and they give us Alvarez. So there's that. Obviously the top target for us and Arsenal is Isak, but I just think Newcastle will get Champions League football, and you know, 150 million, I think that price is ridiculous. I really do. When you could go out and get Alvarez for what, 60, 70 million cheaper than Isak, I just think it's almost a no-brainer to go for Alvarez rather than Isak. And yeah, even if it meant we missed out on him and he went to Arsenal, again, you're hearing a lot from Newcastle. He's a very good striker, but his fitness is a concern. And we don't want another striker with fitness concerns. We've had too many of late. Sturridge, Jota, Origi was kind of like that as well. So you really don't want to add fuel to the fire having yet another striker who will have some fitness concerns. I'm not sure about Alvarez's fitness, but I believe he's played quite a few games for Atletico Madrid. If you're at least going to give us 30 games a season, I think that's fair. You know, you're not expected to play all of them, but if you can get to 30, Jota is never doing that. His body won't allow it. Sturridge was pretty much never going to do that either. Darwin Núñez is never going to do that because he can't hit the fucking target. So why would you keep playing him if the lad can't hit the target? And then, yeah, that's basically it. But that's, for me, I think Julian Alvarez would be an incredible signing. Next one is Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart. On this, he was valued at 38 million. However, I do believe Stuttgart, the report is that they would want up to 60 for him. Still, I believe if you're still looking to fill that CDM role, which I think we should, doesn't Doesn't mean getting rid of Endo. I think we could still keep Endo and get in another CDM, someone that will be able to rotate with Maka and Gravenberg, because although they do incredibly well, we have kind of been fortunate. You can say fortunate, or you can say incredible, like sports scientist department work to keep Gravenberg and McAllister fit for this entire season. They haven't had any injuries, I don't believe. I think Mac has only missed a couple of games through suspension, and that's it. He's not been injured. So, again, you've got that, and also it allows Slot to rotate more as well, because he clearly, in some department, doesn't fancy Endo massively. Otherwise, we would have seen more rotation, and other than that, apart from Tyler Morton, we didn't really have another natural CDM at the club. So I think that's a massive option to have, and I think we should go for it. And then the last one is, if Elliott is sold, Morgan Rogers. The valuation is about 50, however, I believe Villa will probably want quite a bit more than that. But it was reported that Aston Villa will have to sell at least one of their star players before the 30th of June to comply with the Premier League spending rules. So whether that is Morgan Rogers, and if they are in desperation to sell to keep within PSR, they might not have that wiggle room of asking for more money. So I think if this is true and Villa do need to sell someone before the end of June, I think you've got to test the waters with Rogers. I really do. What a player to have in that squad to rotate with Szoboszlai as the attacking midfielder. Also can play out wide as well, so he gives you that versatility, and he's homegrown, so it puts you in a very good spot and gives you a homegrown slot in your team. So with that in mind, the total that we will have spent if we signed all those players is 313,263 without Morgan Rogers. I think that's an incredible summer. I really, really do. You've got, 6 signings there. If you take Rogers out, it's 5, which we are hearing that Liverpool will probably or potentially make at least 4-5 signings. So that is in line with the amount of players we've been rumoured to sign this summer. And I think those are upgrades in almost every department, I would say. But let's move on to outgoings, and then we can talk more about that as well. So the outgoings, obviously, we know Trent is going for free. Kelleher, he is moving into his last year of his contract, with Mamardashvili coming in, Alisson still being incredible and also wanting to stay longer as well. It's obvious that this was Kelleher's last season. The minute we signed Mamardashvili, we knew that this would be Kelleher's last season, and it's all but been confirmed that Liverpool will sell him. Valuation is about 22 million, however, I'm not sure in that, because it will be his last year of his contract, so I don't know if we'll get maximum for him. I don't know if we still value him even with 1 year left higher than 22. There have been mixed reports suggesting that Liverpool would want about 25 for him. So I still think that's very good valuation for a very, very, very good goalkeeper. Getting that done, I think, is very crucial. Because, look, he deserves to be a first choice somewhere else. He has done incredibly well. There has been some blunders, you know, you're thinking the 3-3 against Newcastle. But other than that, you know, 9 times out of 10, he gives you solid to great performances, and he has earned that right to go somewhere else and be a number one. And, you know, there are reports, I don't know if Forest are still interested, but I don't think they should be, because I think they've got an incredible keeper in Matt Sells. And Kelleher will not want to go to a new club to be back up again. That just wouldn't make sense. Hearing that Newcastle are potentially injured, but again, they do have Nick Pope, but I think Nick Pope's getting on a little bit. So you add kind of a younger goalkeeper in there, maybe there could be heavy rotation in the goalkeeper department. Apparently Eddie Howe does like Kelleher, and I believe he likes Elliott as well. So that would be interesting. The next one is Jarell Quansah. Now again, he's also valued at 22 million. However, I do believe we would probably get, I think we want 30 for him. Now he did sign a new deal back in September, so he is far from running low on his contract. But yeah, Quansah's a weird one, because when he's at it, we've seen that he is a good, solid centre-back. He's a good defender. But when he's not, he can't shake it. And that Chelsea game proved it. He was, yes, the team was terrible in all aspects. No one really gave them, not a lot of players covered themselves in glory in that. Were they still pissed? Probably. They had probably been drinking heavily throughout the week and were probably still pissed. But even though, you know, you've been given the Guard of Honour, you've got to perform, and they didn't. And Quansah was one that definitely did not perform. I'm not gonna shit on him for the own goal, because that is a little bit, you know, harsh. It's not really his fault. Van Dijk smacked it against him and it's gone in. But yeah, he was getting done so many times, and then he gives away the penalty at the end as well. Yes, it's not a great ball by Szoboszlai, but you have got to have more confidence and more intelligence to not go to ground there. You can't slide in, you can't make the tackle, you've got to stand up, be strong, and keep Caicedo going towards the corner flag. Yes, you wanted to get the ball because we were 2-1 down, but you can force him towards the corner flag, and then if you have to, make the foul. Don't make the foul in the penalty box. You know, that's just stupid. So I think if we can cash in on him, and again, moving into the signings again, getting Dean Huijsen, I think that's a massive, massive upgrade on Quansah. So I'd take it, but then again, I wouldn't be too upset if he continued to be a Liverpool player. Next one is Kostas Tsimikas. Valuation is 20. I believe that is about right for what we value him as well. Yeah, I think you're looking at bringing in Kirkez. It was obvious, and the report said it as well, that would mean one of the left backs had to go, and in my opinion it has to be Tsimikas. Robertson it's tricky because a lot of people would say maybe sell Robertson because of his age, but you're going to get more money for Tsimikas because Robertson's entering the last year of his contract and he's older. So you'll get more for Tsimikas, and I just don't think he's too good. You know, I would not be confident in having Kerkez and Tsimikas for next season rather than having Kerkez and Robertson. You know, I'm a lot more confident with the latter. So, yeah, and I think Tsimikas is about 27, 28, so, yeah, you know, you're not getting a lot there. You're not getting much more from him anyway. And plus, like I said, to have Kerkez come in and learn from the experience of Andy Robertson as well, that's just, it's a no-brainer to me. Tyler Morton, valued at 8 million, I believe. That's probably about right. I just think Tyler's future is in jeopardy, I would say. I think he probably would have at least been on the bench more, maybe got a few more minutes if he hadn't had the injury that he did. I believe the idea for the, at least at the end of January, was to loan out James McConnell and keep obviously Tyler Morton for the rest of the season. But then Morton got injured, so McConnell had to stay, and that was unfortunate because I think McConnell is a top player, or at least has the ability to become one, and would have really needed that loan just to, you know, give him first team football week in, week out to see if he can actually hack it week in, week out. So there's that. But yeah, heading into the summer, especially with Bajcetic coming back and the report suggesting that Liverpool will give Bajcetic pre-season to have a look at him again, with his future not decided yet. I just think, even if it is just as little as the 8 million valuation, I think you cash in on him and he can get his career on track at another club, because I just don't see him breaking through being a starter for Liverpool, you know, which is sad because I think he's a good player, but I think probably a move to the Championship wouldn't surprise me if one of the relegated clubs, Ipswich, Leicester or Southampton, especially Southampton and Leicester, they are probably the richer of the they're the richer two out of the three that have gone down probably, even though it's only 8 million, and even with Ipswich going down they would definitely be able to afford that. I wouldn't surprise me if that is a move. Again, it probably wouldn't surprise me if one of the teams that come up, you know, Burnley and Leicester, Burnley and Leeds are already confirmed to come up. I think he could do a job in either of those midfields. Whoever wins the playoffs, I think you've got the option there. You know, Tyler Morton has played in the Premier League. He's done good as well. And yeah, I think he'd be a great signing for someone that has just come into the league. Moving on, like I said, Harvey Elliott is in there, the valuation of 35 million. However, you know, I think that's probably about right. We could maybe get 40 for him, which I believe there have been some reports suggesting that we'd want 40, but I think 35 to 40 is about right. Yeah, there's just been, he's not had many minutes this season, and he didn't cover himself in glory in the Chelsea game when he was given the chance to start. those were the chances for the squad players to make a claim and give Arne Slot some headaches ahead of the summer window. But like I said, Kwanzaa and also Elliott didn't cover themselves in glory for that. I would not like to see Elliott go. I want Elliott to stay. But like I said, if you're going to cash in on him and then put that money to Morgan Rogers, although I love Harvey Elliott, Morgan Rogers is definitely an upgrade. So, you know, at big clubs like Liverpool, at times you're going to have to be ruthless. And you've got to make decisions that maybe sometimes the fans don't even like, with selling and stuff like that. But in the end, you get Rodgers in. That is an upgrade, and I think we'd be happy with that if that money obviously went to Morgan Rogers. Again, homegrown for homegrown as well, so you're not losing out there. So to me, it makes sense. Darwin Núñez, obviously the valuation is 50. Do I believe we'll get 50? No. We rejected, I believe, 60 from Saudi in the summer. Might have even been January, but I think it was the summer. Whether the Saudi clubs come back in for him, I don't know. Again, like I said, the report suggesting that we are giving Atletico Madrid a discounted price if it meant Alvarez was coming the other way. Reports were that River Plate wanted him to make a push for the Club World Cup. I just don't know if I don't know if they'd have the money, one, that we'd ask for, and two, for his wages. Napoli apparently want him as well. Imagine that, having Lukaku and Núñez up top. That would be a shithouse. That would be a shithouse strike force. The one thing you can say about Núñez is he is a workhorse. He works really, really hard. And in any other position, he would be a top player. The fact is, you're a striker. You're not there to work hard, you're there to score goals. The only job of a striker is to score goals. Which means Darwin Núñez cannot even do the only job he's there to do. He can't score goals. Tottenham game. Why is he squaring it? Even if he is squaring it, he's hit it way too overpowered. Like, he's hit it way too far. But you've got the number 9 on your back. Just hit it. We're 5-1 up. We don't need a goal. That's your perfect opportunity. Apparently we're here, you're low on confidence, all of that shit, which I don't buy into anyway. Just hit it. Like, you're almost pretty much 1-on-1 with the keeper. You've got a defender coming in between you and Salah anyway. Just hit it. Like, just hit it. And then, the Chelsea game, he's headed the ball from 6 yards out, closer to the corner flag than to the goal. How? How the fuck is that man a striker? I don't get it. And yes, he scored 2 goals against Brentford, which has ultimately been part of why we've won the league, which we're grateful for. But you're not doing it enough. And the valuation that we paid, 80 million for you, you're not proving it. It's not. Those 2 goals don't wipe out 80 million pounds. You're not doing it, lad. So, yeah. It's very obvious. Darwin Núñez needs to leave, get his career back on track, whether that's Saudi, whether that's to LA, whether it's to Napoli or anywhere. I'm not bothered. Just get him gone and get in a striker that's actually going to score goals. Next up is Diogo Jota, who is valued at about 45 million. Now, my only issue with this is if you sell Núñez and Diogo Jota, you bring in Alvarez, core, you only have one first team striker. Now, you're going to have to get in another forward. If you sell both, you have to, because otherwise we're going to be short up top. Now, I know Diaz and Gakpo can play up top, but as we're seeing, especially with Gakpo, his best position is on the left. You don't want to move him out of his best position and put him back up top where, under Jurgen Klopp especially, he didn't have the best of times. Diaz, yes, he's been actually very good down the middle, but again, he's not a natural striker and his best position is coming in from that left-hand side. So, I don't know. I'm torn with it, but I've put him in because it does look like Liverpool would be willing to sell, although there were mixed reports again with this suggesting that Diogo Jota was not for sale, or at least he wasn't looking for a move and Liverpool weren't looking to sell anyway, or weren't anxious to sell. I'm going to say that. It might not be the right terminology, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're getting 95 million just from two strikers. Again, that does put the money towards Alvarez. But I don't know if I'd be comfortable going into next season where you're trying to defend the league title, go for the Champions League and go for the Cups as well, with just one striker, at least one natural striker. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with it, so I do feel like if you're going to sell both, you've got to bring in two. Next one, Nat Phillips, valued at 3.5. It's about time the lad goes. He's entering his last year of his contract. Don't care if it's 3.5, I don't care if it's even less. It's about time Nat Phillips goes on. Like, what is he, 27 now, I believe? Around there. Like, he's got to get his career, you know, he's moving into his prime. You've got to give him that. You know, it can't be another loan and he can't stay. It's about time you cash in. You're not going to get a lot. But yeah, I think the price tag we were having on him for the past couple of summer windows was too high. Now he's moving into the last year. You've just got to get him gone. It doesn't matter how much we get. You've got to get him gone. There's not much else to say on that. Next one, Ben Doak, 14 million. I believe Ben Doak has a very, very high ceiling and a very high potential, but you know, in this anyway, his valuation is 14 million. However, I probably believe we'd want quite a bit more than that for him. Again, there were mixed reports throughout the season, especially throughout the last few months as well, where it suggested that Ben Doak was not for sale, and now the reports are suggesting that Liverpool may be open to selling Ben Doak. Again, even if it is just 14 million, I think you're getting a nice bit of money for him. I don't think he cost an awful lot to bring in. So, yeah, you're making a profit on him no matter what. So, there's that. And then the last one that I have on this list anyway is Cade Gordon, valued at 1.2 million. I just think that although he does have potential, you know, he's got some injury concerns, getting injured quite a bit now, even just at the young age, so that's not boding well. And again, he's one of the players like Morton, like Ben Doak, that I just don't see breaking into the first team as a starter, or at least as a regular first team player. So you might as well cash in. So in total, that's 220.7 million, 185.7 without the Elliott sale. So that is it for the list. Now, you may have noticed I didn't have Chiesa on there. One reason, I am very unsure. That's the one that I am very unsure about, because, again, mixed reports, but massively mixed reports as well, suggesting that, you know, Liverpool are wanting to sell, Liverpool don't want to sell, the player wants to leave, the player doesn't want to leave. It's all up in the air, really. I want him to stay. I do, because I think with him, it's like the report was that the Plymouth game really concerned the Liverpool staff, and it set him back, and that's why he's not getting many minutes. Now, I think that's very, very harsh to say that on just one game, because nobody did well in the Plymouth game. So to write him off after just one game is very, very poor, especially considering he came on in the cup final and scored, played against Accrington and scored, and from his short 5 2-minute cameos in the Premier League games, he's not looked terrible. So, you know, I think there's a player in there. And I just think that this season was a little bit difficult because he was playing catch up throughout the whole season, really. You know, he didn't have a proper pre-season with Juve, didn't get any game time, signed right at the end of the window, so he didn't have a pre-season, he didn't have any match fitness, so you were trying to get him up there. Because we kind of did chuck him in as well, I think he played in the Carabao Cup game against West Ham, did that insane overhead kick that nearly went in, that I think then was headed out and then put in by Jota, I want to say. But, you know, that's... he then got injured because he had no fitness. And then from that moment on, you're playing catch-up with the rest. And I think he deserves pre-season. I think he deserves these minutes. Maybe you take the Arsenal game seriously because you want to prove why we're champions and they're not. I still think he could come on against Arsenal. But definitely Brighton and Palace he should start. I think he deserves to start those 2 games. Give him a lot of minutes to see what he can do, and then give him a pre-season before you make any judgment on him, before you go to sell him. See what he does in the first couple of pre-season sessions and games, and then make your mind up, is my thought process on it. Because I don't see the reason to sell, especially because, you know, with Salah going to AFCON in January, you are going to have that space. Now again, like I said, if we do bring in Frimpong, you can play him there. If you keep Chiesa, there's that spot right there, and no doubt Egypt will probably go far in the AFCON, so you've got a massive opportunity there for him to start quite a few games. So I just don't think we should be hasty in selling him. That's why I didn't put him in. Bajcetic, obviously I didn't put him in because I really like him and I want to keep him, and that's why I put Morton in. You get Morton out, Bajcetic stays as that backup. But there are others in there as well. Calvin Ramsey, I think his future's very much in doubt. Owen Beck, Luke Chambers, both of them had incredible loan spells with Blackburn and Wigan. What do you do with them? Do you cash in? Do you loan them again? Yeah, a lot of youngsters have some interesting futures lying about, I would say. And my initial kind of thought on it would be that we probably will see an unlikely transfer out. Whether that's Konate, for instance. If he doesn't renew, we can't let him go for free as well. Losing Trent and then the following season Konate on free transfers, that will not go well. That will not go well at all. So, you know, if over these next few weeks, and probably before, give it to at least the 1st of July. If you can't get anywhere near and you're not getting closer, and you're feeling that his demands are too high, you gotta sell. I don't want to sell him because he's a great centre back and he's had a brilliant partnership with Van Dijk. But if he's not going to commit, again, you can't lose him for free. You've got to sell. And even if that 100 million price tag that we have on him, Real Madrid don't want to pay, sod it. He doesn't go to Real Madrid. You know, you accept other clubs, and you know that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know, because anything could happen, really. But what I do, actually, yeah, let's just restart that in case it goes off. In case I take a little bit longer to mention this than I thought. But to end it, I'm going to end it on a very, very weird one, because I did that yesterday afternoon, early evening. Last night, some reports had suggested that Liverpool have made an offer for Kevin De Bruyne. Now, as I record this, it is 11:22. This will most likely go up at 5. So, within that space, even from now, I've been recording, maybe 40, 50 minutes, something like that. So maybe it has been dismissed already. But as I record this anyway, well, at least should I say, as of starting the recording, it hasn't been dismissed as of yet. Do I believe it will? 100%. Probably right now. It might be on Twitter already. But if it's not, within the next few hours I expect Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, Paul Joyce, James Pearce, all to come out and say there is absolutely nothing between Liverpool and Kevin De Bruyne links. Would I want him? 100%. A 1 year, a 2 year deal for someone of his creative ability, that replaces the creative loss we'll have from Trent. It really would. A lot of people have said Trent will be a massive miss for his creativity. You bring in Kevin De Bruyne, that's that gone. Like, he might be 33, but he's still got an incredible vision and creative ability about him that, I mean, Szoboszlai would still be the main attacking midfielder, but especially against teams that have that low block that we struggle against so much, and we've struggled for years against, just having that extra player with that little bit more creativity to come off the bench And, I mean, he could make anything happen. He's that type of player, so if it was genuine, I'd be very, very happy to have him for a year or two. And then you can look at, after that, you know, you've got a whole year, maybe 2 years, to actually find out who you want as your younger attacking midfielder option, whether that's Shirky, whether that's the guy from River Plate, who I'm never going to pronounce his name, because I ain't got a fucking clue, or whether that's Morgan Rogers. You know, you've got to... That would not be too bad. But yeah, I don't think it's happening at all. It'll get shut down very, very quickly. And there's no surprise. I think he's probably off to... I don't know. I mean, I think it was Chicago Fire wanted him. I could see him going to the MLS. Maybe not Chicago Fire. I thought he'd more go to someone like maybe an Inter Miami or a LA Galaxy, maybe an LAFC. But it wouldn't surprise me if he went over to America. But I could also see him going to Saudi Arabia as well, earning a shit ton right at the end of his career. But I could also see him going to Italy as well. So I don't know. I really, really don't know. But do I think that he's coming to Liverpool? No. I really don't. I think his time in the Premier League is done. I know he said that he hadn't ruled out staying in the Premier League, but I do think his time in the Premiership is done. So anyway, I'll leave you a lot. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please have a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, that'll make you faint on sight. But she looks like trouble. Her lips so kissable and poisonous. I know she won't be good for me, but I don't care, 'cause I know it's so rare for a guy like me to get a chance with a girl like her.